He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minute and Robin, the podcast where it's our show, our rules, it's our way or the highway. When we're talking about Batman and Robin, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here to take you from insurrection to an ejection, it is your other host, John Parker.
That's a very poetic way of referring to what's going on in this minute.
Yeah, you know, I like to keep it vague. Some people take the approach of, let's actually describe the minute. I'm like, I'm going to make you think.
People are like,
that's what I do.
Stop the episode. I'm going to try to figure out what minute it is now, just from that description. But yeah, we're joined this week by recurring guests, people who've been with us every season thus far, and they're here again to talk about antics at Wayne Manor. It is the guys from the DC Cinematic Minute, Mark and Nathan.
Howdy.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for joining us once more. You're prime guests. You're up at the top. The other guests are
thanks.
losers.
Cheesing from ear to ear. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us back.
Yeah. You guys will be happy to see, too, that no flashback to the Wayne murders this season, which I believe you got twice.
Maybe.
So.
A little one.
It's an illusion, but not quite a full-blown, that's it. Like,
I was fishing for it. I was like, when I was looking at the minutes you gave us, I was kind of thinking, you know, like, okay, how do these relate to the ones that we've
we get the repercussions here. Like blanket term repercussions, that's said.
But today, though, we are here to talk about minute 52 of Batman and Robin, which begins with the Bat returning to his cave and ends a minute later with a Bat lurching into not Batman's bedroom, Alfred's bedroom. There's so many questions on that, because now we do see, as we alluded to last week there, the Batmobile has made it back to the cave somehow, despite being frozen solid by Mr. Freeze earlier. How did he defrost
Heated
it?
seats.
Was it like...
Oh,
there you go.
All rage.
See, I don't trust Batman. I thought this is a backup. He's got 20 of these things. So when one is destroyed, another one just pops out of the ground. It's a bit like shark teeth.
Like, what I would have loved to see, though, is just like, oh yeah, the car is totaled. So he just says to Dick, like, okay, so I'm riding the bike back. And then he gets a little sidecar, pops out the side, and like Dick Grayson has to squeeze into that. He's like, it's my bike. It's like, it's my bike. Yeah. I paid for it. So get in the goddamn sidecar.
Yeah. I love the way you went with the retro Batman feel there of the sidecar, whereas in my head, I was thinking he takes the bike and just gives Dick like some money to get the bus.
I was going to say, like, you can walk home, man. Hoof it.
You're a young kid. You like to walk, right? You fit. You're healthy.
Try doing a couple of your little trapeze flips. You get home, huh?
Yeah, because he doesn't do many of them throughout the series of movies here. This film, he gets a little bit more acrobatic. I feel a little bit.
That's kind of weird though, because it almost feels as if they were just trying to break their own trend though. Of like, well, beyond '89, Batmobile got destroyed in Returns, got destroyed in Forever, and it looked as if it was destroyed in this one. But it's almost as if like, oh no, we can't keep doing that. But the weird thing is like, this is pretty much the last time you see this Batmobile. I think it shows up in one more shot later on when they cut to Freeze's hideout once, they're going to investigate that. But you might as well have had it completely trashed now and be like, yep, that's another Batmobile down the tubes. But for some reason they thought to like, no, we have to keep this one here. It has to keep going.
It shows his growth.
Yeah. What do you guys make of this Batmobile though? Because I was a big defender of last season's, like the Kilmer Mobile.
Oh, the Forever is my favorite. I love it so much. The Forever one is beautiful. I mean, it's the one that I grew up with as a kid. Is that kind of H.R. Geiger looking one, and it's so beautiful. This one is kind of cool. I just think it's a little too much LED lights. He's got like the
I thought you were going to say you liked this one. Damn it.
No. The third one. The Kilmer one. That's the one, baby. But this one, it's got way too much LED on it.
Yeah, it's weird that I've watched a couple of reviews now, because I hate this car, but I've watched a couple of reviews of...
I don't know if I hate the car.
But I've seen a couple of
we
reviews...
know that you're both wrong, so it's fine.
Yeah, see, I was like, John's here with us. Don't say the word hate.
But you can get, like, people on YouTube doing reviews of, like, the old toys and stuff, and... The toy of this Batmobile doesn't have all the LED and stuff. It kind of cuts down a lot of it. And
It's insane. The toy should have more.
But to me, though, I was like, oh, I actually like it now. I kind of like, if you take away all the fluorescent elements, it's like, oh, no, it does actually look okay. But it still looks, cartoonishly proportioned and stuff. Yeah. But
the last one did with the stupid fins.
Now, hang on. The fins were I lost the parts of my Batmobile to the fins, and I was very upset for a very long time. And I want to say that I had a smaller version of this Batman and Robin Batmobile, and the only thing that I can remember about it were the blue wheels. That was it. Everything else I remember comes from the Forever Batmobile with the weird lines in it and the big fins. That top fin would always fall off on mine, and there was a time when I lost it, and it just had like the space for it, like the little cutout rectangle in the back, and it just bummed me out.
And it improved the look of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, see, I do kind of side with the Batman Forever one, is just because I had it as a toy and I could play with it often and everything like that. But I did have a smaller one of this, and I don't know. It kind of makes it a little bit more reminiscent of Mr. Freeze in a way, because it's blue. There's a little bit of a more bluer hinge to this tone, so it kind of fit. But I dig the neon. Can't knock the neon,
Hell yeah. It's a neon film.
Right? It's all neon in this movie, and the Batmobile matches, and it's fun.
We'll say, because this is pretty much the last minute, bar one, where we see this Batmobile. I got a quote, though, from Barbara Ling, the set designer, helped design this vehicle as well. And this thought was a bit noteworthy. This is from the Making of book, where she says, I was particularly glad to be able to have one more crack at the Batmobile. It should always feel like half a block is coming at you when you see it approach, and the size of the vehicle has to take on unnatural proportions for that to really happen, which you can see in this giant friggin' car. Ultimately, I felt like the Batmobile in the last film looked just too small on camera. This time, I wanted its shape to be a giant version of some early roadster sports cars.
I knew it.
I can see it, yeah.
Like the Jaguar D-types or the Delahan 165. I was also influenced by all of the Moon Company's vehicles, including the Moon Spinner and the X Streamliner. I also wanted the Batmobile this time to be a convertible, which always had me excited because that was the early comic book version of the Batmobile. Which we talked about it last week, though. It's like, it's nice that it's that's accurate to the Batmobile. It's a convertible, but when every other movie, people are shooting at the Batmobile window relentlessly, and this is the one where they just decide not to because it's like, well, he's not got a roof, so fingers crossed, Batman.
Yeah, shooting at somebody when they have no roof, that's not fair. And the villains are fair. Yeah. They want it to be a good fight.
Yeah, they have to have a code.
Yeah, the villain code.
Is the only Batmobile sequence in this movie the one with the motorcycle chase?
It's we just came off it there.
Yeah. Is that that's the biggest one, right, from this movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's once at the beginning. It's so weird that it's like this is essentially the end of this.
Yeah,
Batmobile,
so like there's no like main big, like there's no need for someone to be shooting. Like they didn't write that in, right? That's just not even a possibility for like whatever situation they put the Batmobile in. It's like, well, he's not going to encounter any guns.
Yeah.
That's just like a conscious decision they just made where it's like, well, he's got no roof, guys.
It's an odd one.
It does feel so strange, though, because like I felt like the discussion of the Killmobile was like omnipresent last season. We were always talking about it, but this is just like, yeah, we saw this thing once way back at the start. We had it last week for 3 minutes, and now it's done, essentially. Like, that's the end of it. It's like, it it really lends credence to like how toyetic the movie is. It's like, get in that Batmobile, new Batmobile. Don't worry, you'll have a different vehicle at the end of the movie, so you can make a different toy of that as well.
I know, but I do feel a bit upset about it because you spend all this, and not just because I love this car, because you spend a lot of time coming up with a new design and all this, and it's kind of not in the movie.
Yeah.
It's sort of pointless. And to me, the Batmobile is it's almost a character.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I mean, that was like one of the big things they always seem to do, like in the last couple of years, because we've seen, the reveals of new Batmen. I remember, like, when Christian Bale's announced, then, like, a month or two, later, once filming commenced, they're like, here's the Batmobile. They would show you it as, like, as a shot by itself. Same thing happened with Affleck, where they're like, here he is in the suit. Like a week later, here's the Batmobile.
Here's the high definition pictures. Yeah, it seems
and
like...
the Batmobiles always have their own bonus featurette on the DVD.
Yep.
They're always like, there's a whole documentary just to how they created it and how they use it. And,
this one's kind of
it's got its
disappointing
own
in
spotlight.
that sense. That's a shame. I hope we get to see a lot of it in the upcoming The Batman.
I think we will. Because they've also emphasized that car in advance.
I think we saw that car before we saw the suit, even.
Yeah.
And it's
that car got like a whole photo shoot done.
I think because it's such a departure for some people, the design.
But speaking though, that Batmobile, the upcoming one, the muscle car one, is beautiful.
Yeah.
But speaking of beautiful things, there's this shot of Clooney in the car.
Yes,
is phenomenal. Like
that's amazing.
That is like top to. This would be like one of the classic all-time Batman shots if it wasn't George Clooney and this wasn't Batman and Robin. If this was Michael Keaton, you'd see this in posters friggin' everywhere.
Yeah, he's really well lit as well. Like the eyes sort of glowing out. Oh, it looks cool.
I think they've almost managed to capture the thing you always see in the comics of Batman in silhouette and just the white eyes popping out, because it's just like it's whatever way they've got him lit. They've done it subtly enough. Like, so his entire face is in shadow, but those eyes are like piercing out.
Yeah,
it's incredibly well done. And then
I was gonna say, do you guys remember the cover to Batman R.I.P.? It was very, very soft blue and black, but it was the silhouette of Batman and his cape folded out above him. Almost, it was like wings, like.
Ooh. That sounds good, actually. I don't remember.
You point your wings to the air kind of thing. And this shot of Batman here of just the head and the two flaps of the Batmobile back, it blue hue. This looks like it's a call to R.I.P. in a sense. And I'm loving it right now. That looks awesome. If you look up the cover photo, whatever, of Batman R.I.P., man.
Other than R.I.P. come out after this. So it could be
probably
like they were
did. I mean, hey,
Maybe they would have been like, oh yeah, we really love that one shot of Batman and Robin. So
I think it did. Morrison was doing R.I.P. in like the mid 2000s.
I've just Googled it now. Wow. Yeah, now I know what you mean. Yes, I have seen this. It's great.
One of my favorite stories of all time for Batman, honestly. But yeah, that's excellent. I think this looks great.
It's a really good shot. It really does look like a comic book panel.
Yeah, I love it whenever they do that. Whenever they take the effort, to really capture almost like a still.
Yeah,
you could just print it out and be like, there you go.
You got to get into the mindset of when you're looking at these characters, especially behind a camera and everything. The mindset is to make them look like action figures. I mean, this guy right now looks like he's just a big old hunk of plastic that I can take out and play with. I mean, honestly, everything's all shiny and just plastic looking. It looks beautiful in like the campiness of Batman lore. I don't know. It just looks fun.
And we haven't even talked about how good Robin looks.
No, we haven't talked about any of the.
Inject myself right there.
He looks great, doesn't he? This suit on Robin is really cool.
I remember last season, Mark. Like I think you had a real soft spot for the Dick Grayson or for the Forever Robin outfit, but like now you got into.
I still do. I still think he looks great in both films. I think we even talked about it because the minutes that we had was the birth of Robin, and where he gets like his helmet back, and Alfred's like, "Oh, you came in like a Robin or whatever," and then I was like, "Oh, I'm so kind of, we didn't get any minutes of him in the actual suit, but that's okay because I can still talk about Robin and how great he is in the suit and whatnot." And so this minute, which is 52, go figure, It's really nice.
Yeah.
He has the kind of like that more Nightwing suit, and it's that black and red, and that's kind of like the suit he wears in the New 52, and it just looks good. And then the more I watch the minute, and like you see Chris like moving around in that suit, and you don't really see any wrinkles or anything, I'm just like more impressed by it. Like, how's he doing that? How's he able to move around in it? Because that's something that they were really trying to do for the Superman Lives movie with Nick Cage, and they really wanted to nail that down of how he can move and not have wrinkles in the suit, and they still are trying to do that with modern superhero films.
I wonder
and it's just
if
impressive.
I wonder if with the help of New 52 and Brett Booth particularly, that this suit has just become that a little heat has been turned off of this suit, and people are like, oh yeah, check it out. That's what he was doing back in 2010. That's what he looked like. That's really cool. At least for me, when I saw Brett Booth and what he was doing, and like seeing like, oh yeah, that totally looks like Chris O'Donnell stuff going on, especially just with all the muscle detailing that he did, that butt. Ayo. But like I have a more firm appreciation for it. I'm sure
firm.
at the time. Yeah, exactly. More firm. At the time,
I was thinking about that firm.
I'm sure I was like annoyed by that doesn't look like Robin, but also I don't have any memories of me thinking that because I was a child and it was just Batman and Robin and all of it was cool to me. So whatever. It didn't get until I was like in my teens where it was like, oh yeah, nipples on them, where I was like, okay, that's funny, but it stops there. Chris O'Donnell looks great in this Robin suit that we can attribute it to Nightwing. That's the thing for the fans in us. Like, we look at this suit and we see that, yeah, he's calling you Robin. Yeah, dude, you're like freaking 29. You're not supposed to be Robin anymore. But I see you doing the Nightwing shtick. Like, I see you hatching from the cocoon. And it's just cool,
Hell yeah. It's such a great idea, I think, as well, because it bridges the worlds of the super fans, who know all about Nightwing and stuff, and the casual people who have maybe never heard of the character. They just know Robin.
Right.
So it's a great way of let's make both parties happy and upset no one, and they somehow pulled that off. That's a difficult feat these days.
I am kind of slightly disappointed in that. Again, because they, try to turn out so many toys for this movie where you just have, like, heat radar Batman and all these kind of things that they didn't try to work into the movie all of Nightwing's outfits. That like, so one scene he shows up and he's Disco Wing and he's got the giant popped collar and he's got like the
damn it. I would love it.
That'd be great. He's just trying new things every day.
Yeah, like bright blue and the yellow symbol, and then like freaking the next time it's just suddenly a mullet appears on him somehow. It's just like well, will you make up your mind what goddamn suit you're wearing? It's like, no, I'm going through a phase. All right,
yeah, I've got to test it, man. Give me time.
The next on-screen Robin, we have to have an outfit montage. I mean, really, what are we doing here?
Why not? That would fit the tone of this movie,
right? Him like doing the whole walking down the staircase too, and like, check it out, Bruce. I'm gonna be a Teen Titan. Do you like my outfit? He's like, no, dude, your shorts are too small. Go try on that little disco number that I gave you.
Oh, that would be so good. And Bruce can be really like, he can be shaking his head. But Alfred's supporting him, like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Alfred comes in with like the tea of Trey. Comes in like no one pays attention to him, and then he realizes that they're all just like doing a little thing. He sees that it's awkward, and then does the quick beat of 180 turn back out the door.
Hell yeah. See, that would fit this movie. Why not? Do it.
Yeah.
Oh. But the something with Robin that I'm on board with, right? So in my mind, he is quite rightly complaining about Batman stopping his jump on the bike. Because he's pretending it was to protect Robin. But I genuinely think that it's a kind of lingering effect almost of Ivy's pheromones. He wants to show off, basically, Batman. He wants to emasculate Dick.
Yeah,
which is a sentence I didn't expect to say.
That's
a strange
an odd
thing.
Scene in that, like, it is just weird the way, because what Dick said, like, he totally could have made that jump. 100%.
He's on a bike. It's made to jump.
And like the idea, like, yeah, this was actually Bruce's attempt to emasculate him after Poison Ivy is a great idea if they would just convey that more in the movie.
Yes.
But what the movie does is actually present, because at the end of the day, Bruce did win. Like, Batman did catch Mr. Freeze by himself. and like him stopping Robin had no ill effect. Had it been a scene of like Batman just barely made it, and he just at least struggled to capture Mr. Freeze, he really needed Robin there. And it was, the argument might have had more weight, but it was just more of a kind of like, yeah, you just would have got my way, kid, so I just batted you out of the way so I could take down the guy. And look, if the car was wrecked even, if he came back, it's like, yeah, it's another Batmobile totaled because I had to do that. But it's like, no, there is no ill consequence for Batman out of him doing that to Robin, other than Robin's now yelling at him. And for that reason, you're kind of like, well, Bruce is technically correct, as
He's
is
correct
Dick.
in a way, but he's not morally correct.
No.
Yeah. And you could then try to tie it into, like, is this because of the anxiety of he doesn't want to lose another loved one because of what's happening to Alfred? Or lingering back to his parents' death and stuff. The fact that, like, yeah, he's a guy, once he gets close to people, he becomes overly protective or whatever.
Controlling.
But then, yeah, and that's all kind of, like, stuff that could be in play, but it's not really clear in the movie. It just sort of seems like you don't know that Alfred's dying yet. You don't know, it's all sort of, it's out of place and it's not emphasized.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they had a whole thing where like you knew that maybe Dick was under the, like, because he does say, oh, you weren't even thinking about it. You had your mind on Poison Ivy. If they can actually convey that in some way, there's no evidence of it in the movie. If Bruce was thinking about Poison Ivy and that's why he did that to Dick, maybe she was watching somehow, or he just wanted to show up the kid or something. But none of it's there. It just sort of keep the argument seems weirdly impotent then because of all that.
It would have been a little bit more interesting if they would have made it apparent of the discourse between Batman and Robin. I mean, obviously it's here, but like if they would have given you the doorway of, well, yeah, he's out the door, like he's turning into Nightwing, like they're having their differences now. He's not a child, he's an adult. They're both adults. He's got his different path. If they would have like at least given a hint to like that's a possibility, I think it would have been a little bit more like, yeah, there's definitely some animosity between Batman and Robin here in this movie because Robin's going off to his next chapter, yada, yada, yada. But it's more of just like a blanket vision of toxic masculinity. And I understand that 100% because of what this movie is, because of the entire design, all that stuff, and Poison Ivy here and the relationship that Batman is shown in this movie. It's all pointing to
Bane is like literally toxic masculinity.
Yeah, and it's
right?
all pointing to that. It's just like that is the theme, and that's cool. But like there's not really a decent enough resolution for that type of animosity, in my opinion. It's just like, by the end of the movie, it's like, okay, cool, teams together. That's it. But like, it's not like, okay, cool, next chapter. It's just like, that's it. That's done.
That would make a really good comic book title. Poison Ivy, toxic masculinity.
Very good.
Hell
Write
yeah.
it down, Mark. We're gonna work
Write
on
it
that.
down.
Like I always had a kind of beef with this movie being called Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
It almost would be better if they called it like the death of Batman and Robin, and it was about Dick going like he does leave and becomes Nightwing after this, and it's like, well, technically they can still be a team where Dick's Nightwing, the Batgirl's there as well, and Batman's still around, but it is. From a certain point of view, it is the death of Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
But again, they're trying to go more lighthearted, so like you can't have death in the title. That's way too.
Yeah, but
ominous.
you could have the same kind of concept. I think, like, yeah, maybe Robin goes about halfway through the movie, and then he comes back as Nightwing a little bit later on to save Batman.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
This right here would be the breaking point, though. This is where he would have to leave.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's this. Like, this would be the final straw,
Yeah.
not like the first one.
Yeah.
Like, this would be like, okay, between the two movies, there's been way more of these moments, and now I'm done with it. Especially with Poison Ivy's influence, like breaking the two of them
Yeah.
apart.
Oh yeah, this is the
And
perfect.
so then he
moment.
would have to leave here, and then later on in the movie, like, sure, maybe he's now working with Barbara as a new sidekick, but then Nightwing shows back up, and he's just torn the cape off of his Nightwing suit since he already has it on,
Mm-hmm.
and there you go.
Rips the handlebars off the bikes, got his Goffy sticks right there. Bing, bang,
Ah,
boom.
yeah.
Perfect.
I love it. I love it.
His escrow. Yeah. And I do like that bit where he threw in that Grayson bit where he's like, the Flying Graysons, they could handle this kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I like that they add that in there. It's like, yes, it is. Like, I would feel like he would have more experience than Bruce Wayne. It's like, yeah, sure, you have all the money and the technology, but I mean, Dick Grayson over here he's got the chops to do such a jump.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for everybody. Since we're doing all of this, movie by movie, between Forever and Batman and Robin, do you feel like enough time has passed? Do you feel like enough time has passed? Or was it more like, from me growing up as a kid, watching Forever and then Batman and Robin, it was like immediately after each other. And it's kind of disappointing now thinking about it, where it's like, well, I feel like they should have had like, I don't know, a year of like working together and have a little bit more rapport than still arguing with each other every time they come back home.
Yeah, it's one of the, I almost think that might have actually sort of damaged Robin's reputation as a character, like in like a lot of the general public's minds, because a lot of people might have only really seen him through these movies. And so like, oh yeah, the whiny asshole who hangs out with Batman sometimes, like from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, where it's like, Dick Grayson as a character is like one of the most charming, affable, beloved comic book characters. People adore him, and the fact that he's not been back on screen, like on the big screen since like 1997, is insane in some ways, because he's he's so beloved. And a lot of it might be because like, yeah, you had a surly Dick Grayson, Jason Todd combo in Batman Forever, and they were sniping at each other the entire way up till the end, and then they finally were a team. And then you got one scene at the start of this where they were kind of working as a team, and then the rest of it's just like, oh, it's just the two of them falling out all the goddamn time.
Well,
and it's the annoying thing is like, I almost feel it's like it's the only level of the relationship that they knew how to do in these movies, and surrounding it, because immediately prior to this movie coming out, there was actually a tie-in novel released all about Robin, called Robin Facing the Enemy, wherein Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne fall out. Dick's too headstrong and impulsive. They're actually taking down two gangsters called Dozer and Boss Magoo, which I was happy to hear, because my brother's nickname is Magoo. So I was like, oh my god, I can just imagine him in it now. But and yeah, the whole thing's like, yeah, Dick just he's like, all right, that's it, I'm out of here. Strops off, goes and works in a diner for a while, ends up helping the owner because he's been, there's someone muscling in on his turf looking for money and stuff. And eventually he learns to sort of be more even-headed, goes back, him and Batman team up again, and then this movie occurs, wherein the two of them are constantly freaking falling out again. And then knowing on top of that, the plans for like the fifth Batman movie, whether it be like Batman Unchained, Batman Triumphant, or one of the other ones was Batman Dark Knight, where it was DARKNIGHT. And if you look at any of those, they're like, well, at the beginning of the movie, Batman and Robin were supposed to fall out and separate. It's
again.
like, for the love of God.
I think the problem is that it does feel like this is immediately after the last one, but it's clearly not supposed to be. I think there's supposed to have been time, like, because it's almost like they know, Mr. Freeze has been doing his thing for a while. It's been months and months and months. But it does kind of also come across in the finished product as this is next week.
Yeah.
So I think there's an implied period in between where they have been getting along, but we're not privy to it, which is stupid.
The Revenge of the Sith allusions to Anakin and Obi-Wan's friendship.
Exactly the same as that. Exactly. They keep going on about how they're close friends, and we're just watching it like, are you?
Yeah. But yeah, because we don't know how much time has actually passed since Forever.
Now kids have the Clone Wars, and I was talking to someone about this last night, where it's like, you think kids who watch the Clone Wars, they're not ready for what happens in episode 3.
Yeah.
Like, 7 seasons of like, Anakin and Obi-Wan, they're best friends, they're gonna be saving the galaxy together. It's like, no, they're not, kid.
I know, that must be really like devastating to a kid who maybe got into the series through the cartoon. Imagine that. Imagine watching all those seasons, and then all of a sudden your hero is Darth Vader.
This is like somebody just deliberately like having a baby is like, what I'm gonna do when the kid's old enough. is sit them down and start from episode 1, and then make sure that they are engaged and interested, and then watch all of it in order just to see how devastating Revenge of the Sith actually turns out
Crush
to be.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, I
It
would
is
enjoy
crushing.
seeing that. I would very much
I
enjoy
mean-
seeing that in a human being because I know that feeling. It's like I gotta watch somebody else do that.
You would enjoy seeing
Yes,
that? You would enjoy that?
I would enjoy. I would love if some little kid was sitting in a movie theater and a tear came down his eye when Anakin screams at "I hate you." Like, if he starts bawling, I'd
Yeah.
be like, "We're here, kid. You made it. We're good."
You know
We're
what?
good."
No, I'm with you because, you know what? A lot of people don't like that movie. I quite like it. A lot of people don't like it.
I love it.
But, you know, if you can take something that people make fun of and spin it around into something that's that emotional for someone, that's cool.
That's right.
I like that. But then again, I'm a sucker. A tear comes to my eye when the clones all start shooting the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am that kid almost. Even though I don't feel their relationship, I do get a little bit upset.
Because
But
you
it's-
know that there was history. It's like there were years that these characters spent together.
It had 3 years to
But
be
that
exact.
that same thing should apply here, but for some reason it doesn't. I don't care that they're falling out.
Yeah, I think it's even too like in comic lore, like Robin, he goes off the whole reason they fall out or whatever. It was basically because in 1969, because of the way the state that Batman was in at that point, post TV show where he is campy, it's kind of silly character. Denny O'Neil decides like I want to take him back in a darker direction, and the way you do that is you get rid of Robin, but not to kill him. He just goes off to join and form the Teen Titans, which I would have loved to see a spin on that in the mid 90s, where it's like Chris O'Donnell and Marky Mark as Aqualad, the Teen Titans of the 1999 or whatever. But that was considered Robin was made as a character in 1940, and then it's 1969 is the first time they're like, maybe we should separate these guys, and that maybe there will be a break in the team. It's like they had near 30 goddamn years of working together, and yet they get into the movies between 1995 and 1997, they're constantly friggin' falling out, constantly when they break these guys up.
Yeah, it is a problem with the movie, I think. As much as I love it, if they're going to fall out, don't do it basically from minute one.
Yeah. With Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Brittany Murphy as the titular Hawk and Dove. I'm in it.
Let's do it.
Oh,
Well,
what
not
the
now,
hell
actually.
is that?
That's so good.
That would be awesome.
Should say though, in post-crisis continuity as well, Dick actually breaks off from Bruce in June of 1987, which is the month I was born. Actually,
Hey, happy
Hey.
birth month.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
but it's Batman 408, and it's basically shot by the Joker like on an evening patrol or whatnot, when all that Batman and Robin adventures, and actually the press report that Robin's dead. And at that point, Bruce is kind of like, it's getting pretty dangerous out there, kid. And Dick is sort of like, because he's getting older and he's under the guy's shadow.
It
And
says that after he's been shot.
yeah,
It's getting kind of dangerous out there. Yeah, go figure.
You think? We got no roof on the car, guy. It's a
Idiots.
convertible.
Batman just likes to feel the breeze between his ears.
it's like it's been 30 years, no one's been shot up until now. I guess things are getting dangerous.
Yeah.
but at that point, then Dick does go like, it doesn't even become Nightwing immediately. He goes off and hangs out with the Teen Titans for a while, and then eventually he shows up in the disco wing suit and it's like, here we go, Nightwing. But weirdly enough, though, in terms of like, there's no more Robin. In the exact same issue as when they introduced Jason Todd.
That
So
didn't
they're
take long.
already, they're already setting up the
Oh,
next Robin.
really?
So
Yeah.
it's
I
like,
love the
one's
way
out,
Batman's
the other
like,
one's back in.
Yeah, Batman's like, oh, I've lost that kid. Oh, I'll just get another one. It's
Yep.
fine.
Yeah, this kid's trying to break into my car. Okay, he's coming with me. I'm just gonna kidnap him.
It's like
That's
this
great.
the Simpsons meme of Moe throwing Barney out and then them disappearing.
Yeah.
Back. It's just like,
Oh, we
Yes.
need to make that meme and put it in the group.
That's prime meme material
Hell
right there.
Batman here, he accuses Robin of something, which I think, as I've said, is kind of what Batman's doing, because he says all you were thinking about was Ivy. It's like, look in the mirror, dude. I think that's you, Bats. All you were thinking about was Ivy. Leave Robin alone.
And the thing is, because that would be all well and good if they'd only find some way to convey it. Like,
Oh yeah, it's not conveyed at all.
yeah, it seemed as if as soon as they left the ball, they were back into business mode.
Yeah.
Whereas you had a little section of Robin looking at her, and Batman had to come and grab him, but that was just more of a humorous beat. But you would have preferred, like, during the chase, maybe you just would have had, like, Poison Ivy's theme or something, and Batman not been very focused when he's driving. Or just some conveyance that, like, she's in his head now.
Yeah.
She's in both their heads. But it seems as if, like, him throwing out, like, oh, your mind was on Poison Ivy. He's like, well, how do you know?
Like,
he was right on the job. Like, he wasn't doing anything wrong.
He knows because his mind is. That's why, because he's thinking the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Like,
And
we
he-
had a
he
scene
knows
of them
how it
like sleeping and having night sweats, so like can't,
Yeah.
bad dreams or something. Any way that like the pheromones still could have been affecting their minds in a way.
I
It
would
would've
have
been
done like little cuts to, I don't know, like close-ups. I would have done it like the Bela Lugosi movie White Zombie, right? I'd have done close-ups like on her face, like her eyes. Just as he's driving, he sees it. almost.
Yeah, like the layering of two shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. I get
And you
it.
get a little cheesy bit where he has to shake his head, like, oh.
Just her
Just a
eyes
little-
superimposed over, like, really open wide, and like the hand clawing him in.
Yeah, that
Shot
would
for
have.
shot remake of Batman in the Batmobile, close up on his face, a la A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah. See,
in the
this
beginning?
would
Yeah.
work.
Bringing a little bit of that dancing gorilla back, like just kind of fade in the dancing monkeys.
That's the
Yeah, as he's
twist.
driving,
actually.
he sees like a little thing of a monkey, and he just gets distracted. He's like, oh.
yeah.
Bats wasn't into
What's
Ivy.
going on?
He was into the monkey suit. He's a furry. He's got to be a furry. He dresses up as a bat.
I had a whole
Yeah.
thing for Catwoman. He's just like,
Yeah.
finally, someone who gets me.
yeah.
And she takes off the monkey suit, and he's not in. I was like, oh no, can you put that back on?
Yeah.
Always trying to mold her hair into kind of little cat ears and stuff like that. Now I'm into it.
That man is the
crossover
OG
between-
furry, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right. What's the crossover between furries and like leather daddy furry Batman or something like that?
Oh yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Getting all those rubber suits and everything.
Hey,
Hey,
it's Gotham City,
that's
baby.
what I'm
you know?
saying.
It's-
I'm in it. I'm here for it. All right.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
And,
Schumacher would have been like, let's do it.
oh, he'd have been down
Listen.
for that. Yeah.
Well, what's I also say though,
in
for one shot of the close-ups of Robin's face, actually, you do see the mask, and you can see the blue tinge to it, because we're saying way back in the beginning, in the making of book, they're talking about like, oh yeah, these suits are electric blue, like ice blue. They're supposed to be like a blue color, but always to me, it's like, no, there's black. Both of them are entirely black. But it's just, I don't know if it's because there's blue lighting in the cave and it's just reflecting off, but you can finally see the color they're going for in Robin's mask, and a little bit in Batman as well. So they go.
There's that picture of them like where they have their suits from the end, I guess the silver stuff and everything, and those seemed kind of dark navy. I had a Batman with the silver markings on it, and I remember it being more blue than everything, but I don't know, I guess I wasn't really paying attention to the color difference. But yeah, I can definitely see the blue hue in these things here.
Yeah, I do quite like it when it's not just black. I mean, black makes more sense, obviously, but it's an interesting change. Make it a different blue.
And it wouldn't translate.
Oh.
It wouldn't translate on the film. If they were wearing completely black, it would like once it gets color corrected and everything, it would look awful. They probably couldn't even see the detail in it.
Yeah, it's
Probably
very
how they tried to
difficult
get that
pull it off.
metallic look to it as well. Like,
Yeah.
put some deep blue
I saw
in it.
that in the kind of like the Wonder Woman behind the scenes and how they're doing the No Man's Land scene, and all the smoke that they're using is like that blue, like almost like a navy blue. And the whole battlefield is covered in like this blue smoke, and it's like, oh, we did that because by the time it gets color corrected and everything and it goes to movies, like it'll look like ashy smoke. But if we use actual smoke, it wouldn't come out that way.
Ah, clever. A bit
it's
like,
like,
black and white movies. The makeup was insane. When you actually see the makeup in color that the actors are wearing, it's absolutely crazy. But what in the movie, it kind of looks normal.
Yeah. I thought one of the big problems they had apparently with the suit in this, for getting that blue, was apparently it was painted on afterwards, And they said because of the
Oh.
mobility of the suit, every time there was a fight sequence, the paint would crack.
Oh yeah.
So they'd constantly have to go over and like retouch up the suits and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare when like if they just started with a black material and then continue on, or a blue material. But it's the fact that they made a base material and then had to spray paint it. It's like, I think they were basically saying in the making of book, which is like, it's the only tomb document on Batman and Robin that's like, it was all great. Where all the retrospectives now are like, oh geez Louise. But in that they're like, yeah, that was a bit of a pain in the ass. Like it's the one negative light that they put on it.
I'll tell you what though,
it
gives it a good look. There's the slight sheen on it. I think it catches the light really well.
We'll also say though, because I'm not a big fan of the Clooney bat suit, and I've been saying throughout, I think it looks like the cowl doesn't fit him properly, and we've had people joking about like, oh, George Clooney's characteristic head bopping. In this scene, you can see his head bobbing in the
You
outfit.
can, yeah.
It's almost as if like it might have actually fit him originally. He's just stretched out the rubber from his head, going fucking up and down and side to side constantly. It's like, or either that, or it was like it's a medical condition. You have to let my head do this. So like, all right, we'll put a way too big friggin' mask on and let you bounce around inside it.
Hey, I'll defend it. I quite like his head motion. It's his thing. He's got a thing. Now, Dick here as well says, that's your idea of friendship, as in, do what I say, basically. And it is annoying when people are this way. It's true. I feel you there, Dick, as well. I'm all with Dick on this. And then he says the line that you quoted at the beginning now. He goes, your house, your rules, your way or the highway. It's Batman and Robin, not Robin and Batman, and I'm sick of it. Which I do kind of agree, again, mostly. Because I know this is Bruce's house. But don't invite someone to live with you and accept them into your life and your life of crime fighting if they're not going to be your equal. Like, this guy isn't just staying with you. He's living there. This is also now his place. So once you take that step, it is his house too, the same as yours. Not in a legal sense, but I mean in the way you should be treating the friendship dynamic now.
Yeah, it's... The way though he says like, oh, it's it's Batman and Robin, not Robin and Batman. That kind of stuck in my craw a little bit because it's like, well, Batman's been around a lot longer than you, man. Like we don't know how long it's been since forever. It's like people might be like, who the hell is this other guy? Like,
yeah, I think Dick's problem is he's just lashing out at everything. He needs to point his attack because Batman is more famous, number one, and number two, it's alphabetical. So, don't complain.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite accurate though to a teenager as well. Like someone, you're just thinking he's like supposed to be about 18, 19 now. Like again, you want to be your own person. You want to be the big deal and stuff, and then having to be constantly told like, oh, Batman and Robin, when you're like, I'm not there friggin' throwing trays at people and beating up thugs and stuff. It's like, why isn't anyone paying attention to me? Like
I get it
it's
to a
understandable for a hormonal guy to just be like, yeah, I want to be the center of attention. Come on.
Yeah, but Bruce does, he doubles down because he goes, yes, it's my rules that keep us alive. And if you want to stay in this house and on this team, then you will abide by them. No, screw you. It's a team. You can't call it a team if you're saying abide by my rules. That's not a team.
I do appreciate too that as I mentioned that book, the Batman or the Robin Facing the Enemy by Alan Grant. That's the whole thing. Like it actually makes the point of when Batman dissolves the partnership at the beginning, and he's just like, yeah, this isn't happening anymore. You're more than welcome to stay here, but you're not Robin anymore. But this version of Batman's like, yeah, get the hell out of my house as well. It's like,
well, I think that's better though because he's not going to stop being Robin if you just say you can still stay here. It's going to be more problematic. It's a bit like, I don't know, you break up with someone. Imagine going, oh, we're splitting up. I mean, you can still live in the house. You can have a spare room. It's okay. It's weird. You can't do that.
But yeah, speaking of other elements inside the house, we do, of course, then cut to Alfred Pennyworth.
Oh, burning an audio CD.
Yeah, this is big. This took me back here, but it's kind of weirdly poetic though. It's almost as if they put a bit of effort into this, because in fact, there you're seeing the fallout between two brothers, kind of brother figures. Batman and usually be a father and son thing, but these guys are so kind of close in age.
Yeah,
it always comes across more like they're. And later on, he does refer to him as brother. To see them like falling out, and then cut to Alfred desperately trying to get in touch with his brother. It's keeping it all. It's all in the family, baby.
I do like that.
And he very, very ominously says at the end, "We have very little time." What could he be talking about?
Yeah. Are we keeping that a secret?
Not really. We're probably going to talk more about it in the next minute, aren't we? But we can delve in because it's not really a secret.
We can save it.
I just really want to talk about this computer because I was I just thought about it when I was watching these minutes because I noticed the Apple logo, the Macintosh logo on the computer, and I was thinking, is this a real computer? And so I tried to do a bit of research, as one does for these podcasts, and I did not know that there's an actual IMDb for computers.
What? I didn't know that.
Called Starring the Computer.
Wow. No idea.
And there's 2 computers in this movie that are used. And so the one that Alfred is using here is an Apple 20th anniversary Macintosh. And it says Alfred uses a Spartacus TAM prototype in his private quarters that he uses to play a part in the plot where he writes a CD using it. And then later on, Alicia Silverstone uses one, an Apple eMate 300.
Apple again.
Laptop.
Bruce had a deal with Apple, clearly. Yeah.
These are, I guess, prototypes, but they are really made by Apple.
It's around the time
Strange.
Apple started getting cool again. Because before this, they were considered quite lame. I mean, The Simpsons have a joke about it, which has aged terribly. Where I think Homer's being told about a music festival. And they're like, it's sponsored by the guy from Apple Computers. And he's like, what computers? That wouldn't work now.
That's the thing, though. Most amazing part of this computer to me is the speed in which it burns that CD.
Oh, for the time as well. Jesus.
Yeah. It's because the thing is gonna make myself sound like an old fogey here. I still burn CDs.
What?
For people? Yeah, that's my Christmas card to people.
That's fine. Yeah, I get it. It's not the same. Just getting
Wait, you
sent.
burn CDs for your Christmas cards?
That's a great idea. That's an amazing idea.
That's a cool idea, Niall.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Like, yes, instead of sending a Christmas card, let's go make a mixed CD for people.
So
things up and
awesome. That's
listen
so
to.
personal too. That's great. Oh my god.
That's a really nice, thoughtful idea.
And
Niall.
let me say, they're always good.
Oh, well, thank you very much. But
They're always. That's awesome.
I can tell you though, for 2021 technology, no way in hell it's burning that fast. I guess he's only. Well, the thing is, he's sending him all the Batman info too. Like, it's gonna be.
Oh, you
a
think?
huge
I
amount
thought it was
of-
just that audio recording on there.
Just a voice memo.
So maybe the voice may still take like 2 minutes or something to burn that CD. Like, it's not gonna. I was also getting the impression though, like this was gonna be, but you couldn't have everything on all the Batman info.
No,
on
that
one
wouldn't be
disc.
safe.
Yeah, not safe. I don't think it's even feasible. I think you need like a friggin'
At least 2 CDs.
like
It should be on floppy disks, and he has to send 45 of them.
Yeah.
You have to set. Yeah, to go down to the shop. It's like, I need a 5 gigabyte pen drive, please.
I used to love it when I was a kid, and my dad would get the new version. It wasn't even Word. He had Word Perfect, if you remember, the competing product.
Mm-hmm.
And
Word Perfect.
And he would be like, I've got the new version of Word Perfect. Do you want to help me install it? And that was an exciting Sunday afternoon. I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, put in disk 12. This is fun.
It is. It was. It was
So
a great time.
this guy, Alfred, this file that he's been recording, the
Yeah.
size of this thing is 8,643 kilobytes. It's like, 8 megabytes or whatever. So
8 megabyte. Yeah.
was he talking for like 8 hours?
He was talking for it would be about 8
Is that just
minutes.
yeah, okay, the conversions. Okay.
There must have been some before, right? We're not hearing the whole message, surely.
Right.
But then he could be recording it as like a wave file. It could just be high quality.
Now,
Yeah, uncompressed, bro. Like
He only deals in lossless format.
It feels like if that's the entire recording, though, it's also a bit of a waste because like, that eventually gets to Wilfred, and it's just like, Brother Wilfred, I've been trying every address to reach you. We haven't much time. He's like,
I started my own minute-by-minute podcast.
This is him asking for
We're
a co-host.
running out of time.
But if that was the entire recording too, Wilfred would be like, okay, so you found me.
What do you want?
yeah.
Like,
Now
what
what?
else? Like, I have to wait for another goddamn disc to show up.
It shows up another 6 months later. Alfred's already dead. Anyway, before we go over the hour mark, we will depart. Jesus Christ, we will head off into the dark night. Would our wonderful guests like to tell people where they can be found online?
Sure. If you'd like, you can find us on Facebook at the DC Cinematic Minute Listener Society, or personally, hey, I can be found at No Clutch Nate on all on all
Super
super
social
social
media.
media.
Only the super social, though, not the normal
Right.
social.
You have to be super social. No introverts allowed.
Oh,
Completely lose half the listener base.
That's
that's why you
everyone.
won't accept my friend requests on all the super social.
Yeah. You can find me on all social media at Mark Meadows, and our podcast you can find at DCEU Minute on all social media, or Doom Patrol Radio. That's the other one we do. So check that out. And we'll check you out later.
Check it out, everybody. And as usual, come and check us out. Facebook, Bat Minute Listeners Cave. That's the best place. And then we're also on Twitter, Instagram. Just put in Bat Minute, we'll come up. I'm lazy today. Can't be bothered. Go to our website, thebatminute.com, where there's very little, except for the episodes. But, you know, it helps. And check out Patreon. I can't be bothered. We'll do it again on Friday. And we will be back on Wednesday for more Bat Minute and Robin.
Next time, Butler Banter. Entering the abode of his beloved Major Domo, a worried Wayne unpacks his mental load. The city's savior suspects he's being pig-headed, but will some sage philosophy from his valet confirm what he's dreaded? Goff gets up in our business on Wednesday, kids. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.
back.